Alright, welcome back to another K-Stang Productions episode of college football. I'm sorry guys, we haven't been uploading recently or currently. Everybody's been sick under the weather for at least 2 to 3 weeks. I mean, just purely sick. And other people have very important stuff going on. Therefore, we couldn't get to the videos. However, if you do go on the K-Stang Productions TikTok, there are some videos uploaded there. They're kind of uploaded there. Not as frequent as we want them to be, but we're better. I'm better. Hopefully we should get some videos in with the guys if we can on this Sunday. But without further ado, let's talk about some college football, because there hasn't been a lot of college football talked about on this channel in probably about a month, maybe. Week 14 of college football. And I would also like to say that college football has been going through it these past couple of weeks, where there's the good teams winning, the good teams losing, teams going into overtime, and new teams emerging, such as Georgia Tech, giving teams a run for their money each and every week, whether it's Miami, whether it's Georgia. And if you're a college football fan and you've been keeping up to date with college football, you know what I am talking about. But this video right here, we're going to talk about week 14, week 15, and some bowl games, just to go over, recap the end of the season, because now we're currently going into the playoffs. So Memphis and Tulane played one of the first games of week 14 out of 16. Memphis, the number 25 team in the nation, defeated Tulane 34-24. And I would like to say that was a subpar game. Tulane has been a pretty subpar team. They're 9-3, which is probably one of their best seasons in a while. And for Memphis, Seth Hennigan went 22 of 29. He's their quarterback, 218 yards and 2 touchdowns. Then Mario Anderson, their leading running back, went 24 carries for 177 yards and a touchdown. Greg, don't know how to say his last name, he went 6 for 41 and a touchdown as well. Now, Rock Taylor had 7 for 96. And with Greg, how do you say his name? I honestly can't say it. But Greg was also one of their leading running backs, and one of their leading wide receivers was 8 receptions for 84 yards, and he also had 2 touchdowns on the night. So honestly, Memphis gave them a run for their money. We know that Memphis is a good team. I mean, they've been playing some good football. They went 10-2 within the season. Whether they played good competition or not, they went 10-2. So they did what they were supposed to do. They were over 500. They had 10 wins on the season. They only lost to 2 teams. So therefore, I would like to say they were one of the better teams within college football, no matter whether they played any good competition or not. I know they beat the snot out of Florida. Just saying. Not Florida, but Florida State. But for Tulane, Darian Menza went 21 for 33, 317 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. And then their leading running back had 2 carries for 29 yards. So this just goes to show that they don't run the ball that much, but they sure will pass it. And I'm sure time of possession was probably low for them as well. This is Tulane. Mario Williams went 7 receptions for 130 yards and a touchdown. Yulkeith Brown went 4 receptions for 93 yards. So they spread the ball around, but in the end, Memphis did prevail over them. And you know what? That's okay. They're probably going to be in a bowl game. Honestly, we don't hear too much from Tulane unless they're getting beat by a well-known team. So honestly, props to Memphis and Tulane for playing a great game. So moving on. Another matchup that is highlighted, especially because one of them had a Heisman frontrunner in Ashton Jeanty. Number 9, Boise State played Oregon State, and if you were wondering, Boise State did win this game by a substantial margin, 16 points, which is 2 touchdowns and 2-point conversions. The Oregon State Beavers right now are 5-7, and the Boise State Broncos went 11-1 on the season. That finished their record up for the regular season, and they are in the playoffs. So let's go over some stats. For Oregon State, their quarterback, Ben Gulbranson, went 21 for 37, 226 yards, and a touchdown. So he tried to spread the ball around. They tried to get him some passing attempts within the passing attack, and he did fairly well. He could have did a lot better, but I will say I'm going to highlight the running back within the Oregon State Beavers offense, Anthony Hankerson. He went 11 carries for 110 yards, which is really good. That's 10 yards per carry. So that might just go to show that the Boise State Broncos defensive line may not be the best. And we're going to get into later on who they're going to have to play, such as who wins the first round and who's going to be in the second round, because there's teams that got a bye, such as Georgia, Boise State, Arizona State, and Oregon. So it's just going to be really interesting to see what teams are going to prevail, and I'm going to give some matchups and who's going to win and stuff like that. But Darius Clemens went 8 for 123 yards and a touchdown. And then Trent Walker was another receiver with 52 yards on 4 receptions, 13 yards per catch. Moving over to Boise State. Boise State's quarterback, Maddox Madison, went 17 for 33, so just over 50% on the night, 195 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ashton Jeanty had another great night, 37 carries. They gave this man the ball 37 times. Can I highlight that? 37 times. They gave the man the ball 37 times. That is outrageous. 37 times is outrageous. 37 carries, 226 yards, and a touchdown. That's outrageous. Giving a man almost 40 carries a game is OD. Cam Camper went 6 for 73, receptions-wise. Matt Later, he went 3 for 45. So this just goes to show that Boise State's main attack is Ashton Jeanty. And honestly, when the defense know that you're going to be one-dimensional, that's going to get you done for. You're done. You're cooked. Because there's no way you're going to, hypothetically, Texas wins. Well, I don't know how the bracket style is set up right now. But like hypothetically, if Texas would have to play Boise State, or another defense like Oregon would have to play Boise State later on in the rounds, how on earth do you look when a defense knows that you're going to give the man the ball 40 times and they stop it? You have no other attack but Ashton Jeanty. It's crazy. It's diabolical. It's criminal. But props to Boise State for sticking through it. They went 11-1 Mountain West Conference. They got their bye. Honestly, I would have I would have liked to see them play, but they got the bye, so it's probably good for them. They get to live longer within the playoffs, so it's good for them. And hopefully, they do some damage. At least as long as it's not the Clemson, I hope they do damage. So next game within the FBS, the Colorado Buffaloes, that were 9-3 on the season, played Oklahoma State, the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Oklahoma State is 3-9 on the season, atrocious. And then the Colorado Buffaloes with Deion Sanders, prime time, went 9-3. They're 23. They're the 23rd team ranked within the nation. And I would like to say, whether it's Shedeur Sanders, whether it's Travis Hunter, Shiloh Sanders, Will Shepard, whether it's Jimmy Horn, how about them dogs, boy? They are some dogs. Honestly, I don't see Shedeur Sanders going in the top 2, top 3. I think he might go in the top 10. It just depends on what teams have the picks as the NFL season closes down. I know Ashton Jeanty would be a good pickup. I know Travis Hunter would be for sure a good pickup. Any team could use him, honestly, if you want to be honest. But when you need a quarterback, you need a quarterback. And honestly, Shedeur Sanders might be one of the first quarterbacks to go off the board. The only other quarterbacks that I would possibly know, honestly, I don't know many quarterbacks that could possibly go right now, because no quarterback besides Cam Ward, I'm guessing Cam Ward is going to the NFL. What is his name? Dylan Gabriel He's going to the NFL draft. Honestly, I pick Shedeur Sanders over both of them. Honestly, just saying. Cam Ward is all good, but I think Shedeur Sanders is better. Just me. But let's get into these stats. Jesus, I'm guessing his name is Malachi. Malachi, that's a weird way to spell his name. I'm not gonna lie. Mealluaki. That is out. Whoever did that, that's criminal. His parents are criminals because that's nasty work. That is nasty. It's cool how they spelled it, but man, trying to teach him to spell that is dirty work. Malachi Smith went 11 for 20. Did I just mention that Colorado beat the snot out of them 52-0? Zero. Goose egg. They put up no points. And Colorado's defense ain't even that good. But they put up zero. Nilch. That's terrible. That's terrible. There's no way you're convincing me otherwise. That's terrible. So Malachi Smith went 11 for 29. 70 yards. 70 yards. 2 interceptions. Jesus, have mercy. Trent Howland, my bad. Their leading rusher went 9 carries for 57 yards. And he was their, dude, he's the only rusher that got over 20 yards within this game. I can see why y'all lost this game. Brian Presley went 8 for 42 receptions. He went 8 receptions for 42 yards. And he was their leading receiver by a mile. By a mile. I don't know what to say. We're just going to move over to Colorado. Shedeur Sanders went 34 for 41, 438 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 1 interception. And that's all you have to say about that. Michael Welch, he had 12 carries for 39 yards, and that's terrible. That's absolutely terrible. But when Shedeur Sanders is almost throwing for 500 yards, what are you going to say about him? LeJontay Wester, he went 11 receptions for 175 yards and 2 touchdowns. Diabolical. Travis Hunter, being on the offense and the defensive side of the ball, he had 10 receptions for 116 yards and 3 touchdowns. Diabolical. Will Shepard had 6 for 67. I mean, oh my goodness. It would have been nice to see Colorado play within the playoffs. However, when you lose a game of that magnitude, who'd they lose to? They lost to... Did they lose to... It was Kansas. They lost to Kansas. And they put their destiny in somebody else's hands. And that is what you can't do. It would have been really interesting to see where Colorado went within the playoffs. Honestly, I think they would have been one of the better teams to play. However, some things don't go your way, but they put up a good fight. Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, I'm guessing Shiloh Sanders is also going to the NFL as well. Props to them. They played a great season. Travis Hunter was noted as one of the most winningest players within college football. Or one of the most awarded, because winningest isn't a word. One of the most awarded players within college football. So props to him, man. Moving on. Ole Miss played Mississippi State. And honestly, who knew that Mississippi State changed their logo? I did not know they changed their logo. But Ole Miss versus Mississippi State Bulldogs. Mississippi State Bulldogs went 2 for 10. Ole Miss barely scraped away out of the playoffs, being 9-3. Ole Miss beat them 26-14. Mississippi State, their quarterback Michael Van Buren Jr. went 17 for 32, 280 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. And then we had Devon Booth, 16 for 38. Kevin Coleman Jr. went 6 for 118 and a touchdown. So they tried to spread the ball around, but I think Ole Miss is a more superior team. Therefore, they pulled out with the win. Jackson Dart went 14 for 24, 143 yards and a touchdown. Honestly, I believe that he could have did a lot better. Ulysses Bentley, the 6th, went 20 carries for 136 yards and a touchdown. Jackson Dart has 77 yards on 13 carries, which is really good from him. Honestly, he's one of the most premier quarterbacks within college football right now. I really like his work. If it was up to me, I think it'd be Shedeur Sanders, Cameron Ward, and maybe Jackson Dart. I like Jackson Dart a lot, and I think he's a really good player. Caden Prieskorn went 4 for 53 and a touchdown as well. So honestly, this game probably didn't mean a lot for Ole Miss, especially because they're ranked 14 within the nation, and I think Alabama was ahead of them, and that's because SMU. But anyway, so Ole Miss beat the Mississippi State Bulldogs. More than likely, they're going to be in a bowl game. Actually, they are going to be in a bowl game, so that's going to be really interesting to see. Moving on. Georgia Tech and the Georgia Bulldogs played in a great game. And honestly, I'm really sad that I wasn't able to give y'all that video that weekend. But they played in 8 overtimes. 8 overtimes. I'm going to say it one more time. They played in 8 overtime games. Therefore, Georgia Tech was giving them a run for their money. Georgia Tech was up within the entire game. And they let Georgia come back. And what happens when Georgia comes back? They come out swinging. I mean, they leave their chin exposed. And they're doing overhands. Have no care in the world for the uppercut they're about to get. And what did Georgia Bulldogs do? They uppercutted them. Absolutely smoked them like Mike Tyson. It was a good game, honestly. Obviously, everybody knows I hate Georgia. And I was wanting them to lose. I didn't expect Georgia Tech to put up such a big fight, but they did, and they still lost. They had every chance. Haynes King had every chance to end this game. Every chance. But they messed up. And that's sad. But Haynes King played a immaculate game. He played an immaculate game. I could kiss him on the cheek. No, I'm not. Pause. But, he went 26 for 36, 303 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's really good. It'd be interesting to see if he's where he's at in life, whether he's a sophomore or a junior. I think he might be a junior, but he might hit that transfer portal. He might go somewhere else. But Haynes King also led the way, so he was the leading passing player, and he was a leading receiver. He was a leading rusher as well. Haynes King went 24 carries for 110 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jamal Haynes, he went 13 carries for 91 yards. When I tell y'all they were running the ball on Georgia, they were running the ball. And that is what we need. We need an equal dosage of running and passing. And that's exactly what they did, but they still were handed a loss on a silver platter. Please tell me how that happens. Eric Singleton Jr. went 8 for 86 and a touchdown. Honestly, they played a great game. Just losing by 2 points, an overtime 2 points, a conversion 2 points is great, especially when you're playing the number 2 team in the nation. Carson Beck went 28 for 43, 297 yards, and 5 touchdowns. He played out of his mind. I give him a lot of flack. I do. I'm going to be very critical of him. Just the way I'm going to be very critical of Cade Klubnik, Cameron Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart, you name it. But he did lead his team back. And props to him, man. We're going to talk about him and his injury later. But Nate Frazier went 11 for 50. Arian Smith went 1 for 30. So they didn't have a great game on the ground. But I also like to highlight Nate Frazier did get them that touchdown to win the game. Cash Jones went 4 for 53 and a touchdown. And Dominic McLovin, that's probably one of my favorite players within Georgia. He went 5 for 47 and 2 touchdowns. So all in all, it went down to 8 overtimes. Georgia Bulldogs defeated the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets 44-42. And like I said, Georgia Tech just handed it to them. They really did. They played a good fight, but like I said, you do not win a game to go into multiple overtimes like that because you don't know what can possibly happen. But it's okay. Georgia Tech really wasn't going to go anywhere because they weren't in the playoffs at all. So it don't matter. And honestly, it's not like it would affect Georgia anyway because Georgia still defeated Texas. And we're going to talk about that later as well. But the Tennessee Volunteers played Vanderbilt. They beat them 36-23. Nico Imilave is probably one of my favorite players within college football as well. I like his composure. I like what he plays for. I like his game overall. He went 18 for 26, 257 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Young bull is crazy. He is nasty. And I'm not even a Tennessee fan, honestly. I'm not even a Tennessee fan. But, like I said, Nico, he is great. Dylan Sampson, one of the best running backs within college football, and I don't think he gets the praise that he should. He went 25 carries for 178 yards. He didn't have no touchdowns, but he was immaculate. Their leading receiver was Dante Thornton Jr. with 3 receptions for 118 yards and 2 touchdowns. And the thing about Tennessee is they have really big plays. Their offense lives off of the big plays. And if they don't get them big plays, oh, they are screwed. I'm talking about the biggest screw you could find with the powerest drill, and they're getting screwed. But props to them. They're in the playoffs. And it's going to be really interesting to see how far they go within the playoffs as well. And we're not even going to talk about the Vanderbilt Commanders because they're not worth talking about right now. Because who cares? They beat Alabama, and from there they just went. They sucked from there. Props to them for beating Alabama. They kept Alabama, or one of the leading causes to keeping Alabama out of the playoffs. So they always have a special place within my heart. Army defeated the University of San Antonio 29-24. Honestly, props to Army. Props to was it Navy and the Air Force? I don't think it was the Air Force. I think it was Navy and the Army. They both played really good seasons within college football, going subpar, undefeated, and then losing a couple of games down the line. But they played a really good game, and that's all I'm going to say about that, honestly. Michigan played Ohio State. Did I mention that this is rivalry week? I probably didn't mention that at the beginning of the video, but this is rivalry week. So that's why you see teams like Texas, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt playing, and you see Georgia versus Georgia Tech, and you see Clemson versus South Carolina. This is and then Ohio State and Michigan. This is rivalry week. I forgot to mention that. Ohio State played Michigan, and Michigan beat Ohio State. And there's very big controversy within college football with Ryan Day and the Ohio State Buckeyes. Within his tenure, I think Ohio State has lost every game to Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Leave down in the comments if I'm wrong. I could probably look it up right now, but I kind of don't want to. I think Ryan Day has lost to Michigan throughout his tenure, being the head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes. And honestly, to me, because I'm not an Ohio State fan, I don't really care, because I think I heard a stat today. He's like 66-10 with everybody else within college football. He just cannot defeat Michigan. That's okay in my books. Honestly, I understand no, because if South Carolina beat Clemson every year, I'd probably be pissed. So never mind. It's probably not okay. But the thing about Ohio State, they are always in the playoffs. They're always in the playoff contention. You cannot deny him that. He is one of the better coaches within college football. They are always in playoff contention. They may never win, but they're always in playoff contention. So let's look at this game. Ohio State Buckeyes went 10-2 on the season. They're number 6 in the nation. And Michigan Wolverines, they ended up, now the first part of the season, they looked terrible. They looked absolutely terrible. But they overcame that. They're an overcomer. But they finished 7-5 within their college season. But they beat the Ohio State Buckeyes 13-10. That's why I went on that whole tangent. Davis Warren went 9 for 16, 62 yards, 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Honestly, if your quarterback's playing that awful, you deserve to lose. But Ohio State seems like they cannot win these type of games. Khalil Mullings, he went 32 carries for 116 yards and a touchdown. And the leading receiver, Peyton O'Leary, went 1 for 18. God dog! Oh my goodness. Oh yeah. Michigan sucks. So honestly, I see why Ryan Day's job is on the line. Because honestly, how on earth do you have 1 reception for 18 yards and that is your leading receiver? That means their defense put that beating on them. So it's bad with the defense, obviously. Will Howard went 19 for 33, 175 yards, touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Quinston Judkins went 12 for 46. And we've always known that Michigan has a great defense, or a subpar defense. Usually they're one of the better ones within the league. Carnell Tate went 6 for 58. So honestly, not the best performance from Ohio State. And Michigan didn't play great as well. So honestly, that was probably a terrible game. And also, they had a big controversial playing of the flag, which went around college football, talking about you shouldn't be able to do that. Well, not only that, they got into a big brawl. And honestly, a little confrontation never hurt nobody. Especially in sports. And honestly, it might keep college football competitive. Honestly, with this whole NIL thing, the rules are very subjective, and it's very weird how things play out. I think there should be some new rules implemented, because the way that people are just transferring and playing the next year is crazy work. You might need to lose a year of eligibility. Honestly, if you're gonna commit to a team, you better commit, or you're losing a year of eligibility. That's what I think. You can only play 3 seasons. If you're coming in, you commit as a freshman, then you want to trade. That means you only got 2 seasons or 3 seasons of college football to play. Not 4, not 5. You only have 3 seasons. You trade again, now you only have 2. Just me. But we'll see how that goes. Like I said, Michigan, Ohio State played. Michigan beat them 13-10. Another game that should be highlighted, at least to me, Clemson got beat by South Carolina. And honestly, I should have saw this coming. I thought Clemson was up. They were up. And in the fourth quarter, they went. But we always seem to score so many points within the first half. But then the second half comes, and we get absolutely nothing. It's like we don't understand that you put the ball in the receiver's hand and you go score a touchdown. It's that simple. It might be hard to execute, but it's that simple. And they cannot do it. They cannot do it. I mean, just even SMU. We scored 21 points. You're like, oh yeah, we're about to put the beating on them. SMU comes back, and we have to rely on a 60-yard field goal to win the game. Or not 60, but I think it was like 56. It was something around there. That's atrocious. But South Carolina, Lenore Sellers, he went 13 for 21, 164 yards. He didn't even have a great day passing the ball. But Lenore Sellers decided that he wanted to run the ball 16 times for 166 yards and 2 touchdowns. When I tell you, this man went from the middle of the field. This is the field. He went from the middle to the right. Curved like Candyland. He curved, ran this way to the touchdown. And then you just see the referee. I've never seen anything like it. Never in my life have I seen somebody run that distance and get into the touchdown. Barely touched. He was barely touched. I've never. But then Raheem Sanders didn't have a great day, but Lenore Sellers honestly did all the work for them. He went 18 for 60. Nick Harper went 5 for 51. And it's going to be really interesting to see how South Carolina does within the coming years of Lenore Sellers, because Lenore Sellers is a dog. And then his brother's coming next year, who's about to be another dog. Cade Klubnik went 24 for 36, 280 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 passing touchdowns, and 1 interception. Instead, Cade Klubnik has 62 yards on the ground with 10 carries for 2 rushing touchdowns. You're not a running back. You're a quarterback. You throw the ball. Phil Moffitt went 20 for 66. Jay Haynes went 2 for 11. The leading receiver we had was 8 receptions for 99 yards in Antonio Williams. Bryant Westco Jr., 5 for 67. TJ Moore went 6 for 65. And Jake Briningstool went 3 for 35. Honestly, Clemson can play a lot better. And we know it. We know. Honestly, I hope we play way better this weekend. Because if we don't, I actually might lose my mind. I actually might lose my mind. And because this video is getting really long, I'm gonna just go through these scores. Illinois and Northwestern played. Illinois, the number 20 team in the nation, beat them 38-28. Arizona State beat Arizona, beat the snot out of them, 49-7. Arizona State is the number 12 team in the nation. They got into the college football playoffs, and they also got that bye. Their running back, Scatterboo, really, really good. Really great contact. He plays behind his pads. I think he's a great running back. Arkansas versus Missouri. Missouri is the number 19 team in the nation. Missouri beat Arkansas 28-21. And one of the most prominent games within college football, Syracuse beat Miami, keeping them out of the playoffs and catapulting Clemson into the playoffs. So thank you for that. Honestly, that was a great birthday present. And it's not even my birthday. But thanks to Miami for losing. I appreciate it. Hopefully we do it justice and win. But Syracuse defeated Miami 42-38. And I don't think anybody saw that coming. SMU played California. They beat California 38-6. Alabama played Auburn, the number 11 team in the nation. As it says, they in the playoffs. Are they? No, they're not in the playoffs. I don't know why it says 11. This was at the time. So these are past rankings. Alabama played Auburn, beat them 28-14. Penn State played Maryland, beat them 44-7, beat the snot out of them. Notre Dame played USC. That was a good game to watch. Always a good game to watch between Notre Dame and USC. Beat them 49-35. Purdue beat Indiana. No, Purdue did not beat Indiana. Indiana beat Purdue. Beat the snot out of them 66-0. Made them in the roadkill. Texas barely defeated Texas A&M. Texas won 17-7. Kansas State played Iowa State. Iowa State beat them 29-21. Oregon and Washington. Oregon beat them 49-21. UNLV versus Nevada. UNLV beat them 38-14. And then BYU beat Houston 30-18. So that's going to wrap it up for week 14 of college football. Rivalry week. Like I said, there were some really good games. Some games that but projected people into the playoffs, such as Clemson or Arizona State, knocking out people like Ole Miss and Alabama. So these were really good games to watch. And without further ado, go watch the next video. It's going to be talking about championships and who's officially into the playoffs, and it's going to be talking about upcoming matchups as well. So I'm Keanu Smith, K-Stang, and I am out. Peace.